morning, everyone. It is our third session of Tech We Like now. I feel like they come around quicker and quicker every time they happen. But this is just a chance for us to chat through some cool stuff that we've seen or that we've used that we like the look of. So yeah, let's start with Chris Rhodes.
All right, bear with me on this one because it's going to sound really stupid to start with. But the piece of tech that I like right now is a bread knife. Okay, so that sounds completely ridiculous. But
sounds good.
It's not.
We moved house a couple of years ago, and in the move, we lost the bread knife. And for some reason, we just never got around to buying another one. So we've been making do without it for all this time, like trying to slice bread with a carving knife, basically. And then I finally remembered when I was in the shop the other day to buy one, and it has revolutionized my kitchen again. And it's just like a good example of how you can make do with kind of okay
wrong tools.
But if you've got the right tool for the right job, it makes it really, really work. So it's not exactly high tech, but I think it's just a little example of like using the right tool for the right job, meaning that I get nice, decent, crusty bread rather than a kind of squashed, flat loaf that I've been hacking away at with a carving knife. So yeah, slightly weird that one, but it just popped into my head this morning when I was making breakfast. So
fair though, this week actually, my husband was using a knife that wasn't a bread knife, and I said to him, "What are you doing? Because that just looks so difficult."
yeah,
we've got one in the drawer. Just use it. And so yeah, that actually is a very good one. I haven't seen the difference. Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to Rick.
Well, mine's food related, actually. So I was recently bought a gift, and it is a thing called a Meater, spelled MEATER. And it is a thermometer that is Bluetooth enabled. And so what you have is for some reason, I forgot to bring it with me. I shall fetch it to show you at the end. But so what you have is you have a probe that you put into whatever meat you want to cook. So if it's chicken, a roast, a roll, whatever you're cooking, and you leave half of it out and half of it in so that it can monitor the outside air temperature and it can monitor the meat temperature. Now, here's the brilliant part. You get an app that comes with it that I will show you now that is connected to the device. And then when you select your cook, so I can look at my recent cooks here. So I cooked on Saturday, I cooked a porchetta in the barbecue, but with a lid over and basically side heated. So it would just smoke very slowly for about 6 hours. And this is the chart of the temperature within the meat during that time. The cook, when it started, what the duration is. And what happens is when you start a cook, it will show you when connected to it, it'll show you the temperature outside, the temperature inside the meat, and then it'll show you underneath what time that meat will reach the target temperature, which it has recommended to you based upon FDA temperature guidelines for rare, medium, or whatever you want. It, I thought, was an over-engineered night. Well, like, surely this seems too much. Looking at it seemed to work for me for years. But the reality is, I just don't look at it, and therefore I can go and do other things and not think about it, and just pull my phone out and think, oh, right, hang on a minute, the temperature's dropped a bit. I need to go and put some coals on it, or I need to, it's not a problem. And it is a joy to use. There is one slight side kick with this, and that is that in order for their Bluetooth to reach outside of a metal oven, they have definitely boosted the power on it so that it is creating quite an interference pattern around. People wearing Bluetooth headphones walking past the device, directly past, get a little knockout as it goes, whoa, hang on a minute, because it's a very powerful signal to be able to lock something in a steel oven and still get the Bluetooth out. But it is a great device. They also make them for restaurants where there's 5 of them so that you can be putting them into lots of different joints, but all monitored on one device. So they can say this joint will be ready then, this joint will be ready then, this. So yeah, it's technology, but I love it. It works well.
Can you bring it when we do the barbecue, please?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because yeah, that's the bit I was panicking about.
I could bring the smoker as well if you want, and we can just like put things on for long
Catch up with you on
do
that
whole
one.
chickens and things like that, and
Yeah.
just leave them for hours.
That's next level, like, stuff for cooking.
Mhm.
And when you first say it, I think, oh, like, do you really need that? But then when you talk about why it's useful, I'm instantly like, oh yeah, actually, that sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
And I'm sold straight away.
To be honest, if you use a meat thermometer at all anyway, then or have used one, it's just that, but better because you haven't got to open the oven and release all that heat. And there's a number of dishes where you really don't want to be opening and looking and opening and looking. But also, if you are cooking like something, a big piece of meat, you don't want to be serving something up and suddenly going, oh my God, this is undercooked.
Yeah.
You know,
that was I was
that's the
worrying about.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can already know that it's exactly at the recommended temperature for it to be safe to eat and everything else, I think it's a benefit.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. Okay, we'll go to Perry next.
Mine's work related and it's good. It is Parallels for Mac, which is essentially a virtual machine for Windows, so I can run Windows on my MacBook. But Parallels is really good in how well it integrates back with the Mac ecosystem. They all share the same file system, so if I have files on my Mac and files on the Windows, I can use them both at the same time while running both machines at the same time. So there's a lot less messing about with file transfer. There's no need to switch on and off the computer and all that stuff. And you can even break out the windows out of the virtual machine, so you don't have to view the window within the. So if I open a program in Windows, I don't have to view it within the Windows virtual machine. I can pull it out and have it on my Mac desktop as if it was just any old Mac application.
It is great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really smooth.
What would you do if you couldn't do that and you had to run some things on Windows?
Either use Boot Camp, which would mean turning on and off the computer to run it completely, run Windows separately, and then I'd have to turn it on and off again to get back to Mac, or have a second computer.
Wow.
It's like 5 minutes plus disruption every time, isn't it? If you need to switch between one or the other, otherwise it's a right pain.
And messing about with two different file systems as well, where your files aren't in the same place.
You'll be glad to know there's an M1 version that I've been testing. It's actually very, very good as well. So you'll be able to run all those old apps on M1 Silicon really easily.
Nice.
Cool, thank you. Okay, Tom?
Well, my one, it occurred to me last night. I thought, I don't think anyone's done this, so it's probably old hat to us because we all talked about it before. But I just want to give a shout out if anyone's watching for Camo app, which converts your phone into a webcam. I'm just going to demonstrate it by flipping back to my inbuilt Mac HD camera from what we've got on now. And this is what it looks like with my built-in phone.
Yeah.
A little gizmo. But the quality is, you can see, it's like, I think the license is like 30 quid for a year or 60 quid for a lifetime license. And you just hook your phone up to your computer, get a bit of software installed. And then, hey presto, you've got a really slick looking webcam. And it makes such a massive difference. And it looks more professional, it makes it easier to see you. And just, if you've got bad lighting, it's something like you just adjust for the lighting really nicely. It's got this portrait mode that's focused on me here and just softening the background so you can focus on me. And yeah, it's just, I kind of forgot about it, and then it just came up in conversation the other day, and I thought, oh god, I've got used to using it now. But it's really, really cool, and definitely worth doing if you're using webcams at home. It's better than any other webcam I've ever used.
They're not cheap either, other webcams.
No, exactly. So you spend quid on a Logitech one, and it's not as good as this. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. It's good.
Most of them don't have built-in LiDAR either.
It's also got loads of really pointless filters on it as well, so you can.
I didn't know you could do
This is
that.
Tropical
I've never
Hawaii,
really-
apparently, and then there's a synthwave 1980s one. Apparently, crikey.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Right, I'm gonna get rid of
that. Oh, I
So,
need to
yeah.
try
Wow,
some.
it took a while for your white balance to return as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so.
Cool, yeah, thanks, Tom. I think Camo is definitely one that I love.
Yeah, it's good.
a good one. Okay, Linda.
Mine is I found it was a Kickstarter project, and it's a 3D ergonomic eye mask, which is built up in 6 different layers, and you're able to blink behind it rather than it just be stuck on your head, and it fits all faces, shapes and sizes. So I'm going to order one.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would be like for that? What would be the purpose of? Do you mean like an eye mask when you go to sleep? Or
Yeah, when you go to bed, or like if people are doing yoga and meditation and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of them, they just like stick around your head and you can't move your eyes, but you're able to blink with it. It's made up of 6 different layers of material, so it stands off your face and it's comfortable apparently.
Wow. Yeah, because I was going to say you wouldn't need to blink if you're wearing it to bed, obviously. But
No.
Other uses like
Yeah.
yoga, meditation, things like
Yeah.
that make sense. So cool. I like that.
Nice.
Very good. Okay, Chris Foster.
Yeah, mine's related to the Oculus Quest, which I've got up here, which Tech Deck kindly bought me. It's like a VR headset, but with these hand controllers, which is like the thing I'm looking forward to trying out, which I've not tried out yet, is they've recently introduced something called AirLink, which means that you can, because there's like the Quest has kind of a little computer built in, so a lot of the games kind of limited to the graphics that are capable on the device itself. And previously people have been connected to the PC via cable to get better graphics on the games, but they're just introduced. Well, it's been around a couple of months, but I've not had time to try it yet.
You'll be glad to know it works quite well, Chris. I tried it the other week. Yeah.
Hopefully my Wi-Fi is good enough, because it's being able to stream the things straight from the PC to the headset without having the cable. So I'm looking forward to trying that out.
So do you have controls that you hold as well?
They've got it comes with these like hand controls, but they've also got a feature in there where it can pick up on your hands without the controllers. It doesn't work particularly well. But
no, not yet. I wouldn't use the hand tracking in particular, but one of the interesting things they've just added as well is there's a new desk mode whereby you can define an actual in real world desk. So you draw out where that desk is and it can see it and it locates it. And then you can also target a keyboard. So you put a keyboard in front and it will recognize the keyboard and track the keyboard, so that when you go back into virtual reality, you can now have a keyboard in virtual reality. So therefore you can throw like a 60-inch screen to the left and a screen to the right and make a massive screen in the middle. And you can have your desktops on those and type away on a keyboard that exists in virtual reality. Now that's the beginning of their next phase for trying to integrate the two. And that's where AR will step in. But this is kind of like a halfway step towards AR working.
it's very strange trying to type without there being a keyboard there.
I know.
Yes.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, if your fingers are comfortable enough to just rest in the right places, it's surprising. You can actually pull it off.
Prefer doing that over having the keyboard. But it's gonna become normal, isn't it? That's the thing. That's gonna be what.
Well, hopefully keyboards will disappear. I've been wanting them to disappear for a long time, but we've not got conversational AIs that can understand a thing yet.
I can't imagine it. I really can't. Although to be fair, technology changes that have happened in my lifetime already, I shouldn't be surprised. So.
Well, there's a thing called GPT-3, which has been trained as an AI to allow people to conversationally ask the AI to build software. It's quite intriguing. It's been trained in about 6 different languages so far, and people are building things by talking to the device and saying, I would like something that looks like this, that does that. And then it does the programming to make it happen. I don't think we need to worry about our jobs quite yet, but
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, don't be
it's an
scared,
interesting area.
everyone. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
what I've been looking forward to doing was I've spent some time drawing up some garden plans in SketchUp on the computer,
Brilliant.
but want to be able to walk through it in VR. And there's a few different ways of doing it, but it's quite hard to kind of downscale what you've drawn, so it's capable to work on the Quest. But if with this Airlink, I shouldn't have to do that. I should just be able to. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet, but just be able to kind of have a walkthrough, which is streaming from the PC without having to convert it to.
If you need a hand, Chris, I've actually done it. So yes, I did a fly round with the drone on the house to try and do a photogrammetry scan, and then I put that into Blender, and then did not an Airlink at the time. At the time, it was Cable Link to put it on and then view it.
Oh,
it's really good.
Is that built straight into Blender then?
Well, what I actually did was exported it from Blender into Unreal, because Unreal has built-in VR. Like, you just press play on your Unreal environment and the VR headset's immediately available. You can even do editing in VR on Unreal now. So you can just go in and see it and scale it and move it around and then walk through it. It's very, it's good.
Yeah, I think the real thing's going to come when people are able to do the 3D modeling in VR.
Yes.
With their hands, rather than having to do it all with the kind of mouse.
It is starting to happen. If you look at the new Unreal 5 demos, because they're starting to do film set production with Unreal 5, and therefore they're having teams of people working virtually in the same space, moving stuff and doing set lighting and things like that. So yeah, and Star Wars, the Mandalorian was filmed in VR, as in the film crew were wearing VR headsets so they could see the virtual environment that they were filming in.
I think that's really cool.
Wow.
I feel like every time it comes to me, it's after such a cool conversation, and then I've got mine to give to everyone. So mine is this week. I'm going to go next. I was shopping on ASOS, and they've got lots of different brands on there, which means different sizing and things like that. So I'd seen a pair of jeans that I liked that were a brand that I'd never bought from before, and I had no idea what size to buy. But what they actually do is walk you through a process where you put in a few details like your height, your weight, what other brands you wear and in what size, and then it calculates what size it thinks you should have in that brand, that specific pair of jeans.
That's very smart.
Yeah, and I thought, and when I was going through, I thought, well, they're not going to have the brand of jeans that I have, because they're just Topshop. They're nothing, not like Levi's or anything like that. And they had such a long list of branded stuff. And it turns out that I'd actually already ordered the pair of jeans before I found this out. And I'd ordered the size too big, and the size that they told me to buy was the right size. So I was annoyed that I'd seen it too late. But yeah, I just thought it was a really cool, I've never seen anything like that on any fashion online stores before, and just really helpful in terms of knowing what size to get. So yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Useful, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's an area of technology that's being developed quite heavily at the moment. There's the issue for selling clothes online and sizing, and people being able to try virtually put things on. That's an area they're really pushing. But not a lot of people want to do a personal body scan.
No.
Some companies are even offering that. You stand in a booth and it does a laser scan of the body, and then you leave that with them, and they can tell you which clothes fit when, because they've got an exact three-dimensional scan of you, assuming you haven't put any weight on in the meantime.
Yeah. Can they do it for shoes? Because I never get the right size shoes when I'm ordering online.
If you have a half shoe difference, there are websites where you can trade with other people who have the opposite foot half size difference, so that you can pair up with people and buy shoes together. Yeah, and so you buy shoes together. You buy two pairs, but one of the half size difference between the two, and then one of you take each of the one that's correct for the two of you.
Right.
There's nothing the internet doesn't try to solve.
I know, honestly, you know everything. Every conversation we have about anything, you know something
Yeah.
else. I'm just thinking, how do you know so much?
Why do you think I look this tired?
Okay, and I think then, lastly, Mike.
Hello there. I probably should just mention I've got these new glasses and used one of those kind of online try-on systems. And it takes a quote unquote 3D scan of your face and kind of maps the glasses out. And it was pretty good because it's like, I always forget that when you go to Specsavers or wherever, as soon as you put the pair of glasses on and look at yourself in the mirror, you can't see anything because they don't have real
Yeah,
lenses
the right
in.
lenses
Yeah.
in, yeah.
They don't have the right lenses in. I'm quite short-sighted these days, so I need like I need to know in advance how good they look. But yeah, that wasn't what I was going to talk about. I was going to, well, I was basically going to disagree with Rick and say that I really like keyboards and I hope they stay around for a long time.
Ooh, controversial.
I know. I've got, you won't be able to see, but behind me, I've got a very modest collection of clamshell computers.
Oh, nice.
These kind of old things.
Yeah.
This is a Psion 5MX from the late 90s, and this is a HP Jornada.
Had one of those.
So yeah. They're very old and
Thanks.
were very expensive.
I was just
You
about
know,
to say, I've
compared to
never
modern
seen them
computers.
before, sorry.
Oh, they're so cool. They're so cool. And quite an elusive model is the Pocket PC from 1989, and it's probably the original device in this kind of form factor. And it's impossible to get hold of really for me because they're about as expensive as they were when they came out, even now. They're quite rare. And the fascinating thing about them, which I read recently, was that their power optimization is so aggressive that it literally stops the CPU between keystrokes, right? So what I mean by that is the only processing it ever does is during the time that you press a key down, just for those small instances, which is crazy. I've never heard of anything like that. So the battery life reportedly lasted for months.
Amazing.
What could you do on them as well? What?
They were IBM PC compatible, so you could type Word documents essentially and save them to your computer.
We used to develop things for those sort of things and connect them up to laser scanners and control the scanner.
I had one of the early, was it HP or Compaq? The Compaq first ones with the touch screen and the little pen, and it just blew my mind at the time. Well, I'd had a Palm Pilot and other things which were moving things forward from where we were before. But yeah, some of the early clamshell design devices, they were hugely expensive, but they were really cool.
Yeah, and you could connect to the internet on a lot of these things, and you could send emails, you could do spreadsheets, you could do calendars, diaries. You know, you could organize your jet set business person's life very easily. But then obviously smartphones came out and they died instantly.
Yeah, they were the inspiration for the smartphone, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, for me, it seems like an earlier version of what I would have had as a BlackBerry. Is there any resemblance?
Pretty much.
between
Yeah,
them?
pretty much, but just with an absolutely joyous keyboard. I mean, this Psion is a British company that fell off the face of the earth.
That was the best mobile keyboard they ever made, if you ask me.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, all hail the keyboards, long live. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Another great session. So yeah, thank you very much. I always learn new things every time I talk to you guys, so it's great.
Great stuff.
Thank you. See you next
Cheers.
week.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.